Hey, veterans, you ever get a VA decision and think, I swear I have seen this exact denial before? Same wording. Yeah, same phrases. Oh yeah, that's the same reasoning. Same everything. Well, you're not imagining it. Today I'm breaking down why so many VA decisions sound copied and pasted. What's actually happening behind the curtain? And what that means for your claim, veterans. This is going to be straight from someone who used to work inside the VA while they built a lot of this system. Yes, that would be me, your friendly VA-accredited attorney, Matthew Lang. Before I left the VA to make a difference, well, more of a difference, I spent 13 plus years in the VA as a VSR, an RVSR, a supervisor, a trainer, a mentor, subject matter expert for the VBMS system that exists today that the VA uses, and even an attorney advisor at the Board of Veterans Appeals. I can definitely tell you some things about decision writing you won't likely hear anywhere else. Maybe you will, but maybe not. So let's talk about the truth. Let's talk about the truth of canned text. Let's start there. Why? Well, because that's all we see back here, day in and day out. Canned text. For years, VA decision writers relied heavily on standardized, paragraphs and literally pre-written blocks of text you click into the rating decision. They weren't designed to be personalized. Majority of them, probably 99% of them. No. They were designed to be fast. Yeah. Let's get the claim out. How fast can we go? That's what they were designed for. Now, veterans, if you've ever wondered why your denial repeats the same lines word for word, like, well, the evidence does not show an event, disease, or injury in service. Or, we did not find a link between your medical condition and military service. Or the VA medical opinion found no nexus. No, that's because they are 100% canned text, system generated, click of a button. Now, don't get me wrong, canned text in itself is not illegal. It's a tool. But the problem is when the VA uses it instead of actually analyzing your evidence, veterans. What you get is decisions where the boilerplate stays, the same, though the facts don't fit the language. And that's when it becomes a reasons or bases error. Now, check out our other videos on reasons and bases errors. Reasons and bases has been around since at least 1990. The courts constantly are telling the VA that they've got to follow it. Heck, the last time I looked, if I'm not mistaken and if I recall correctly, there's over 315,000 cases that talk about reasons or bases. Even as I make this video here in November of 2025, there are multiple cases that came from CAVIC that remind the VA and the BVA of the reasons or bases requirements. So how do we get this bad? Well, there was this SNL era. No. No. Not Saturday Night Live era. Because this isn't funny. No, if you filed veterans a claim around 2012 to 2015 roughly, you lived through what was called the Simplified Notification Letter era. SNL, for short. Yeah. Inside the VA, this was sold as an efficient upgrade. But I will tell you, many people on the floor, including myself, who were there at the time when this was rolled out, warned the VA of all the problems, warned the VA of how this would complex the decision, how it would make the jobs harder, how it would slow things down as we wouldn't be able to tell what anybody was thinking in the claim before us. And we would have to re-review all the same evidence all over again. Not that we're not supposed to, but you take my point, right? Duplicating work only to be told it was an inefficient upgrade. In practice, it turned decisions making into a fill-in-the-blank speed game. How fast can I get the decision out? How many decisions can I do in a day? Click, click, click. Gone. Hey, there's 6 of them already. It's only been an hour. Ooh, is it lunchtime yet? Yeah, it was a speed game for sure. So instead of writing custom reasons, positions like raters and decision review officers were selecting drop-downs. Instead of discussing evidence, they clicked pre-written macros. Instead of explaining how they reached a decision, they inserted pre-built conclusions. Yeah, I was there for that transition. It was a speed at all cost model. The goal wasn't accuracy. Oh, no, that's not what I experienced. I experienced a goal that was production-based. And in the end, veterans, you've been paying for it ever since. So why does the VA still use it today? Well, even though the S&L program technically died off, the culture it created never left. Here's what most veterans you probably don't know. And maybe you do from my other video. But VA raters are under massive production pressure. So are DROs, decision review officers. Assignments come with point values based upon what they call an end product to a claim, number of issues or contentions, as they may call it. Quotas, ultimately, that must be hit depending on the size and type of the claim. A fully original, well-reasoned decision takes time. The VA raters and DROs don't have that time under the massive production pressures and goals and requirements, in my expert opinion, and for what I experienced. Just don't have the time. We also have many new raters who were trained in the CanText era. They've probably never experienced the proper way of writing a decision. They simply just don't know how to write a proper legal analysis. Perhaps even they don't even know how to go through the evidence and know what it is. I can't say that for sure, but I'll tell you that's what it looks like on my side. You know, that bad and ugly I see all the time. Copy and paste also protects speed for the VA. You can complete a denial in minutes if all the text is preloaded. And if you're not analyzing any evidence. Sure. Yeah. That minimum 100 claims I gotta get kicked out in 20 days? Shoot, maybe we can do 150. Why not? CanText, conclusionary text. This is why the VA still uses it today. It's really pointed out in the news media. We have a goal of completing this many claims in a year. We're going to reduce our backlog. That's all speed. That's all production. Nobody gets in trouble for bad writing. Only for being slow in the VA. Yeah, that's what I experienced, especially as a supervisor. So let that sink in. Accuracy isn't rewarded. Speed is. The more claims you get out the door, the more you're rewarded. Safer your job was. So veterans, VA, what do you think the system produces? If you're bold enough, put in the comments. Let's chat about it. Let's chat to see if we can find other points of views and opinions outside of just my own here to make the system smoother, to make the changes we need, and understand the rules and regulations and analysis that's required to make a legal decision known as, well, a rating in this case. Now, we've got bigger problems, though. We've got bigger problems. We can't just stop there. The big problem, veterans, your evidence does not fit the template. Yeah. Here's where it becomes more than just an annoyance. Oh, and I know, because I try to pride myself in taking a lot of those annoyances and stresses off you, veterans, when I represent you back here. And every day, I am pretty sure I'm cussing up a storm to some imaginary VA employee sitting across my desk. Can text denies claims based on generalities, not your actual evidence. Examples, again, things you've probably seen, veterans, in VA. I'm pretty sure you have too. They say you had no in-service event, even though your SCRs clearly show one. I have seen that multiple times. So used to clicking the button, putting in the copied and pasted text or the canned system-generated text, that it's like forgetting there was evidence that actually supported your claim. And then I'm putting in text that says there wasn't any evidence. Now, one fun part about this statement here, I'm going to go off on a slight tangent, is I've also seen it where that no in-service event or your service treatment records don't identify any complaints or treatment or diagnosis. I've seen that canned text in the narrative. You know what I find in the favorable findings at times? Yeah, your STR showed a complaint or a diagnosis or treatment, or here's the in-service event. Favorably found, even though the narrative says it's not in service. No event, no diagnosis, no treatment, no complaints. Here's something else that you may have seen said. No medical nexus, even though you submitted a private DBQ. Well, you got to analyze that evidence. You got to weigh it. VA evidence isn't just magically correct all the time. In fact, from my experience and working within the VA and still working from out here, majority of the time it's wrong and inadequate. Again, the bad and the ugly. Maybe you'll see veterans in that decision, no chronic condition, even when your records show years of treatment. I see that one a lot too. Yeah. Lack of understanding what the regulation is and how to apply it, and just clicking the text. They say we consider all evidence, but they never mention the good parts. Yeah, we see that a lot too. Reasons or bases requires the weighing of unpersuasive and persuasive evidence, positive and negative evidence. But we have seen a series of decisions that can text in, we considered all evidence, and yet there will be no discussion of the good evidence. So why do we see stuff like this? I think you got the idea. Well, it's because the template doesn't require them to. It doesn't require the VA to talk about it. The canned text doesn't require an elaboration, even though the law does. I mean, 38 U.S.C. Section 5104 requires adequate reasons or bases. We've talked about this multiple times, and we're talking about it again. 38 CFR 4.2 requires interpretation of medical examination reports in the context of the whole record. We've got case law under Gilbert and Calaza and Nuevas Rodriguez and so many. I don't even have enough time in this video to give you all the references. These are just a select couple or a few that all require the analysis of this decision since 1990. A canned paragraph is not a real analysis. And this is what's causing us the big problem. So what does this mean for your appeal, veterans? Well, when I review a veteran's denial, the very first thing I look at is for whether the decision is actually talking about, you, the veteran. Or is it just the generic boilerplate paragraphs strung together? And I'm going to tell you, 99% of the time, it's just the strung together generic boilerplate say that 10 times fast. Generic boilerplate paragraphs strung together. Hey, but guess what? Here's the good news. Canned text is one of the easiest VA errors to overturn on appeal. May not seem like it, but I'll tell you, if I get to the Board of Veterans' Appeals and I point that out, I am highly likely to get an overturned appeal and win the case. Why? Because the law requires the VA to explain what the evidence they considered was, what evidence they rejected, and why they reached their conclusion. If the VA decision reads like they wrote it on autopilot, the decision is legally vulnerable. That's where supplemental claims, higher level reviews, and Board of Appeals come in. So let's do a small closing message here before I go off on my frustration and tangents in the system and how everybody makes thousands of dollars a year to, well, not do it right. Veterans, the next time you get a denial that looks like it was copied and pasted, just know it probably was. And it means the VA just made your appeal that much easier, especially for representatives like me. So if you need help, veterans, with your VA claim, because you're looking at a decision that copies and pastes the same exact sentences underneath every issue without analyzing any reasons, any evidence, veteranlang.com is where you're going to find me at. Get on my calendar. Come meet me in person here in Arizona if you're in the area, or schedule a phone consult. VA case evaluation. It's free. I don't charge admission at the door. Let us look at your claim. Look at your appeal. And let's fight that for you. And let's win that appeal and get those reasons and bases that you rightfully deserve in that decision and that proper analysis of your evidence. Now, I'll be covering more topics. Just like this one, we'll still talk about the rules, the regulations, and the references, because I think all of this is important, again, for the ultimate education goal of making a VA disability process smoother between veterans and VA alike, to perhaps in the future one day, it'll be so easy you won't even need me in the middle. But for now, understand the culture of the VA changed around 2012 to the idea of speed, to canned text, to an SNL program that resides still in the work that occurs today. So VA, if you don't understand why you're clicking those buttons, do me a favor. Do the veteran a favor, actually. Go back and learn what SNL was. Go find one of those really bad decisions. Understand what occurred before. And take a moment to read those court cases that talk about reasons or bases. Read the rules, read the regulations, and understand why you're doing the job incorrectly and how it's actually more harmful than beneficial, not only to the veteran, but you. All we ask is for you to do it right. Look at the evidence, analyze it, weigh it. Use the canned text as a tool. That's fine. Just don't forget to analyze. All right. Enough of me. Thank you again for watching this video, for coming back to the Veteran Lang YouTube channel. I will see you on another Tuesday. Have a happy Thanksgiving for all those who celebrate. And I can't wait until our next talk. And if you have any topics you want to discuss, feel free to throw those in the comments too. So don't forget, we got to learn from each other. Have a good day.